what I found really interesting, right, is that you're layering Ignite on what was already working last year, right? Last year you guys made a big step with the Infinity engine, put physics into it and made it more real than ever. And now as we watch this, you know, you see people tripping, stumbling, cutting, all these different things. What's happening with Infinity engine this year?
Yo, what's going on, man? It's your boy MD checking in once again. Simulation News Network, Sim Headline with Sim Heads United. Put your U's up, man. Real quick, man. You know, I waited in the background, waited to see what everybody was gonna say about this whole Madden Next Gen. And I'm not necessarily gonna give any feedback on how I feel about what I've seen so far per se. What I am going to do is I'm going to look at some of the misconceptions that have been said, you know what I'm saying, in terms of, you know, this whole week, you know, well, last couple of weeks rather, in terms of what the game's going to be, some of the terms that have been used to describe, you know, different aspects of this game. So, yeah, man. Right here, you know, I mean, pretty much everybody's done seen it already. IGN, E3 stage show, Madden 25 Next Gen. I got a question to ask everybody, man. When you first saw this footage, now be realistic with yourself. When you first saw this footage, man, and you know, you just sat back and looked at it, you know, you weren't sure that they were gonna show this. You know, if you listen to the Sim Perspective radio show, you heard the guys on the show talking about, you know, what they saw, what different people saw. But when you saw this footage on IGN E3 Live Stage Show, what was your first impression of what you were seeing? Now, I can give you mine, and I'm pretty sure most of everybody else, you know what I'm saying, that's looking at this video or otherwise, pretty much said the same thing. When I saw that footage with Adrian Peterson running the ball, you know, the overall look and feel of the game, I said to myself, wow, this pretty much looks like Madden 13. Or you could say this pretty much looks like Madden on the current generation system. Now, of course, you saw aspects that you haven't seen before, you know, in these current gen consoles, like some of the quote unquote shifting of weight and foot planning that you didn't really see with the ball carrier in previous titles. But what I'm going to try to get you to do in this video is I'm going to try to get you to sit back and like ask yourself different things about what you saw and how you use common sense into applying it into making your own impression of this Madden 25 Next Gen. First off, I'm going to start with some of the misconceptions that I've been hearing in the community, and I think the most important misconception that I've been hearing most frequent is the fact that now this is a foundation on the game that we want, the foundation of having a true sim football game. And let me break that down. If you heard the clip that I played in the beginning of the video with the IGN guy talking to Cam Weber about basically laying over the Ignite engine to, you know, the current, I don't want to call it an engine, I just want to call it the system in which Madden has used common. That's the reason that you got the numerous impressions of, wow, this looks like Madden 13. Because initially, the Ignite engine is not bringing you a whole different feel, a whole different look to the game. We see that with our eyes, based on the gameplay that they showed. Now, knowing all this is a couple of questions that you have to ask yourself. First is, if this is the layout in which they're going to use for next generation, what can be considered a foundation for this game? You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at foundations, and like I said, these are opinions that I'm giving. Please, in the comments, you can try to refute anything that I'm saying. I have no problem with it. That's what this community needs, is debate, conversation. When you look at a foundation in which trying to build a simulation football game, all aspects of, or the three main aspects of football, have to be implied throughout the game, not just in compartments, and I'm going to get to that later. It has to be implied throughout the game. That's running, that's blocking, and that's tackling. When you look at overall player movement and running animations, when you talk about compartmentalized football, and like I said, this is another misconception that a lot of people have been, then this has nothing to do necessarily about Madden 25 Next Gen. It's just a misconception that I think as a community we have to get on the same page with. When you talk about compartmentalized football, what we mean by football in compartments. Now, let's use common sense here. When these guys are developing these games, of course, the overall definition of compartmentalized football, of course, they're going to have to implement one aspect in and a lot of factors go into that, as far as timetable and what they can do per system, or based on the processing or data storage. All these things come into play. But this is what we mean when we say compartmentalized football. Let's use an example of the two-step in Madden Next Gen, or we could use current gen with Run Free. That's an aspect of compartmentalized football. Why? Because, and let's just use best case scenario. Let's say in Run Free or two-step on Madden Next Gen that the ball carrier is running exactly how he's supposed to do in based on a replication of an actual football game. Let's just say it. As far as foot planting, as far as the shifting of weight, everything is to the T. What about the other 21 guys on the field? You understand what I'm saying now? If the other 21 guys on the field are not, they're two-player motion, whatever you want to call it, or their running animations, player movement, are not being respected or being compensated based on what the ball carrier is doing, how can we truly call this improved player motion? You can't do it. It can't be done because running animations, player movement have not been respected across the board. That's compartmentalized football. Now, if running animations have been fixed through the entirety of the game, then we can, that aspect is gone. There's no more talking about that. But because we're talking about compartmentalized football, and football being in compartments to the terms of only one aspect of that, I should say a sub aspect of the aspect is only being fixed and not the entirety, that's what we get the term, as per se the senior community, compartmentalized football. You understand what I'm saying? So when you take that in consideration and you look at, and like I said, you got two eyes. All you can do is see what you see based on it being a pre-alpha build, whatever the case may be. And who's not to say that these things can't be fixed come release of the game? When you see these things and you understand the relationship in terms of how the sim community defines them, then and then only then can you begin to try to, you know, depict what you saw in that footage. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to get that out the way real quick. You know, I didn't want to give you any impressions or anything on the video. You know, I just wanted everybody to get some of the misconceptions of a foundation and what compartmentalized football is in terms of the things that we harp on in the community, man. Be on the lookout for more videos. Be on the lookout for the NCAA 14 impression video, the demo, come next week. Me and BB Resurrect, we got some things going on with that. Be on the lookout for other videos, man. You know, the reason I haven't really been making no videos, cause you know this community is whack. You know, you know what I'm saying. I don't really feel like wasting no time trying to state the obvious. You know what I'm saying. If you don't want to realize it or you don't want to, you know, be a part of it, it is what it is. But real quick, man, MD20 Simulation News Network. Sim Headline, Sim Heads United. Put your U's up. Check in with me, man. And I said I wasn't going to make no impression on this gameplay. But now I am, man. I think I feel like wasting a little bit of my time. You know what I'm saying? Making an impression video. Be on the lookout for part 2. Madden 25 Next Gen. MD20 impression. Check in with me, man.